Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're working on a hack of the Brielle cardigan. Now, the Brielle cardigan is just perfect as it is. Honestly, it is such a good pattern. I love it so much. But I saw this inspiration that is super cute, and I thought it really will only take like a couple of steps to get to that inspiration using the Brielle cardigan. So I figured, why not do it together? Let's get started. All right, so what I'm going to do is, well, what I did is I already cut out my pattern. I cut out the oversized version and I went up a size. Now, I say I went up a size, but I'm kind of in between sizes. And I sometimes, if it's a fitted top, I like to go up anyway. So it's not like I went up like overly up, if that makes any sense. So like I was already like, I'm a medium, but I'm like and in between, and I went to a large. Usually I do a large for bottoms, so I just wanted to a little bit more roomy. I cut the regular sleeve length, but I did do the tall cuffs because I want the cuffs to be longer, even though now that I'm thinking about the picture, maybe the cuffs don't need to be that long, but I like a tall cuff, so that's what I'm doing. I the or original design, like what we wanted the pattern to look like, is with the exposed seams, which is such a cool feature. I love that so much. But for this design, I am going to be doing hidden seams. So those are going to be on the inside. So that's going to be a change. And then also, instead of doing buttons or buttonholes, I am just going to do full buttonholes. Well, not even buttonholes. I'm just going to close my bodice. So when I make my bodice, I'm going to end up closing it. And then I'm going to be adding these cute little fabric bows. So when I already cut my fabric, like I said, I cut the oversized fit, I cut it in a large, and everything is the same. Tall cuffs. I cut the cropped version. I cut the oversized. I said that already. Sized up and tall cuffs. And then what I did, the sleeves. I cut the regular sleeve. I do want the sleeve to be a little bit billowy, but not as big as the bishop sleeve. So what I did is I cut the regular sleeve, and what I'm going to do, hopefully, is because I sized up, maybe it'll be a little bit looser. And then I cut these little strips. So I cut more than I probably needed, just because I'm not sure how many bows I'm going to do. Like on the picture, there's 3 bows, so I might do 3 or 4 depending on how long. Like button wise, I have 4 buttons on my Brielle, so I may do 4 bows. I'll just see and kind of eyeball it as I go. But I cut these strips 22 inches by 1.5 inches. And this is the same fabric I'm using, and I'm not going to double it up or nothing. So that's why I just went ahead and cut that. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to tie up the ribbons and how I'm going to sew them on. Okay, let's do it. All right, so the Brielle is such an easy pattern to sew up. And we're going to start by grabbing our front and back. So this is my back piece. And we're going to grab our front pieces and we're going to match them at the shoulder seams and sew them right sides together because I'm doing the not exposed seams. So right sides together, we're going to sew at the shoulder seams. Because I'm not doing exposed seams, I'm just going to be using my serger, but any kind of stretch stitch would work with this pattern. All right, now that our shoulders are sewn, I'm going to go ahead and sew up the sleeve onto the arm side here. So we're going to grab my sleeve. I'm going to face it right side down. Now, on my sleeve, I marked where my back is and my center. So make sure that you take, make sure that you figure out which one's your back side and which one's your front side, and then match them accordingly. Again, I am doing right sides together because I'm not doing exposed seams. But if you want to do exposed seams, you will do wrong sides together. Yeah, that takes a little bit to say. Right sides together, wrong sides together. And then I was kind of thinking, I'm wondering if I want to leave the front. I'm going to try it on and see how it is. If I was just looking at the picture a little bit more, and there's not really a band in the front. And I was like, maybe I want to leave it and just hem it instead of putting a band. So I'm going to try it on since this is the oversized version. And since I did size up, maybe it will be fine if I just hem it a 1/2 inch and overlap. But I would lose my bandwidth here and plus my 1/2 inch. So I would lose like almost 2 inches or 1.5 inches. And so I'm not sure. So we're going to go ahead and first I'm going to sew it all up and then try it on and see what it looks like without the band. And if I like it, then I may just not add the band and just top stitch. So we'll see. This is what I love about sewing and hacking and everything. It's one of those things where you're just like, your creativity is just going and you're just kind of figuring out as you go, because you may change your mind on what it is that you want to do, or you may not want to do exactly what's in the picture, or you know what I mean, like just kind of change it. And that's the beauty of sewing, being able to just think of something and try to figure out how to make it and then create something that's totally different, and you're like, I love this at the end. While I'm over there, I'm also just going to go ahead and prep my cuffs, just because I like to have them prepped. Not that they really need to be prepped yet, because I'm going to have to sew the sides up first. But what I'm doing is I'm folding right sides together, and I'm going to sew up on that long seam right there, right sides together. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for the hem band, because the inspiration is obviously like a knitted sweater, so it kind of all goes together. So the band, it's like more like a rib look than really a banded look. So I'm wondering if I want to go ahead and add the band, or if I want to leave no band. I think I do want the band. I like a band at the bottom of my uh, bodice, but maybe I'll make it a little bit thinner. We'll see. Again, we're just playing around and trying to figure out where we want to land. All right, next step, we're going to go ahead and sew those sides together so that way we create our cardigan. It's coming along. I just love how easy and quick this pattern is. It's so stinking cute too. So I'm matching that armpit seam here, and I'm going all the way down to the hemline and sewing those right sides together. All right, let's sew those up. Then we're gonna attach the cuff, and then we're gonna try it on and see what I'm gonna do with the neckband and the waistband and all that other good stuff. Okay, I think hemming is gonna be just fine here at the front. I do wanna add a band just because I like the way that the band is gonna look, I think, and bring it in a little bit. Cuffs. So yes, it is pretty long. So when I add the long cuffs, it's gonna be even longer. So the long cuffs are gonna be anyway folded, wrong sides together. So I'm gonna show you that real quick so I can kind of see what it's gonna look like, kind of add it to there. But I do like to have that cuff there so that it kind of scrunches up a little bit here at the top. And I could have made these a little bit bigger because on the picture they are a little bit bigger, but hindsight. So if you're gonna make this, you know maybe make it between the regular sleeve and then the bishop sleeve. It's up to you. Now, one thing I am going to say, if I don't add the neckband, you don't have that piece that is kind of bringing it in at the top of the neck. So in the back, you'll have a looser fit. If you can see, like it kind of goes down a little bit. And so when I hem it, it's just kind of go down a little bit. I am okay with that. But if you are not, then you may want to go ahead and add the band to the front of the bodice to bring it in a little bit more. Or when you cut your pattern, you may, add a little bit of seam allowance there. So make it a little bit higher so that way it goes up. It's up to you. What I would do to do that is when I'm cutting, instead of going all the way down, I would go in at least a half an inch or a whole inch up from the whole neckline to bring it up a little bit and add a little bit of height there. But I think other than that, I'm just going to go ahead and hem around the neckline, top stitch, and then I'm going to add the band. And I think that will be the only thing that I'm changing other than adding the bows. And then I'm also going to add the cuffs. All right, time to attach that cuff. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to fold it wrong sides together, matching up those raw edges. And then I'm going to match up the raw edges with the raw edges of my sleeve. I'm going to place them right sides together, and then I'm going to sew all the way around. At the same time that I'm attaching the cuffs, I'm going to go ahead and hem all the way around the neckband. Okay, we're almost done. So the whole bodice is put together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make the band for the bottom. So we're going to grab the back band and the two front bands, and we're going to sew them up right sides together. to create one solid band. Now at the end of the band, I'm going to sew it right sides together and create that solid piece there. So when I attach it, it will be like solid because the front is already hemmed. But what we could do too, we could go ahead and attach it and then hem it closed. It's up to you. So I'm just folding right sides together here at the end, and I'm gonna sew that closed. And so then when I turn it, it'll have like a finished edge there. All right, so now we're gonna grab that band and flip it right sides out, and you can see that now it's like a flushed hem here and the same on the other side. Then we're gonna grab the bottom of our bodice and we're gonna attach the band on right sides together. So this is folded and it's right sides together. So we start here at the end, making sure that's lined up nicely and evenly, and then we're gonna go all the way down. All right, let's go sew that up. And then all we'll have to do next is to sew it together at the front and attach the bows. I'm so excited. All right, our cardigan is basically done. All we've got to do is create our, well, close up our cardigan and create our little bows that we're gonna be attaching, and that's gonna be adorable. Look at that. I'm gonna show you how I'm doing those bows. So I've got my scrap fabric here. This is my, I think it's 1.5 by 22. I said it at the beginning, but now my brain is like, all right, so to create that bow, we're going to drape it over our fingers. You are going to have, this is going to be your loop here, your first loop. And then when you come around, you're going to kind of a little tightly around because this is going to be your middle piece here. So you're bringing that over. Then you're going to create a second loop here and you're going to fit it through. We're going to pull this loop all the way through to the other side. See right there? We're going to pull that. And at the same time that we're pulling that, we're pulling this loop that's underneath here away from that center piece. So we're going to pull both sides. As we pull here, make sure that your fabric is facing right side up and create your little bow. There it is. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place these bows here, match up the two front sides together here at the front. I'm going to place my bows on there and figure out where I want them because I'm going to try them on first before I sew this closed. I don't want to sew it closed and then be like, ooh, I don't like that placement. So you want to try them on, place them where you want them, and then see if you like it like that, if you want more bows, and then we're gonna just sew them on. You can either just go to your sewing machine and sew them on or sew them on by hand, which is probably what I'll end up doing because they're kind of thick and I wanna make sure that they're sewn on there nicely. I may go ahead and sew the bodice together closed first, but it's up to you if you want it to open up a little bit. But if you want it closed, I may go ahead and sew the bodice closed first and then sew the bows on. Or if you just want to sew the bows on and then it still gapes open a little bit, like you know your regular one would open here a little bit if if it wasn't sewn shut. But I don't think that that would be that big of a deal. It's just a little opening right there. Let me remove this pin. I'm gonna try it on and see what it feels like. If it's gaping too much, then I might sew it closed, but I may just leave it and see what it looks like. So let's try it on first. All right, y'all, this turned out adorable. I just love the bows, the cute little bows at the front. I think they look so super cute. The sleeve turned out great. I think if I want to be more like the inspiration, I should have made them a little bit bigger, but that's okay because I love how this looks as well. I think the band at the bottom was the great idea. The back, it is a little slouchy in the back. I did see on one of my store-bought sweatshirts, what they do, and I may do this so that it doesn't fall off your shoulders, is they have a piece of clear elastic that goes from one side of the shoulder to the other side of the shoulder, just one long piece, and it like sits there so that it holds your sweater on, because I love the look of like an off-shoulder sweater that kind of drapes over a little bit. I love that, but I don't want it to fall off, right? So adding that elastic in the back, I think that's such a great idea to keep it together, but it's still slouchy. So anyway, I may do that. But I love how it turned out. I'm going to go ahead and hand stitch the bows on and we'll be done. And I don't think I need to close the bodice, like I said, because it doesn't really open up. So I think once I hand stitch the bows on, I'll be done. What do you think? Comment below and let me know. All right, friends, we are done. I love the bows so much. I think they turned out adorable. Next time I might make them even bigger, make a bigger sleeve. I just love it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Comment below and let me know what you think. And if you're going to make it, I hope you have a great rest of your day and you enjoy some sewing today. I'll see you all next time. Bye.